Round 7 action in the VFL went to North Port Oval. Great to be back there, David Rees-Jones, and what we saw was a typical dominant performance that we normally get from Port Melbourne at home.
Yeah, and probably the one disappointing thing was Coburg. Their attitude in the first quarter was really poor, and they turned the ball over. Well, here's one straight away. You know, they just turned the ball over consistently. They didn't have their mind in the game till quarter time, and they bounced back up in the second quarter to have a bit more of a crack. But once you give Port Melbourne a break, especially on their home ground, they're very, very hard to beat.
Arnott kicked the goal there. He was a good player, Matthew Arnott, for them today. I guess the one positive they could come up with at quarter time was the fact that they'd been totally outplayed. They trailed by 17 points. It felt more like 8 goals. Have a look at Dean Galea here. The balance on him, though, and working in tandem with Bonadio, they were very dangerous up forward, and they certainly made the Coburg defenders aware of their presence.
Yeah, they were. Look, they both kicked multiple goals, but yeah, it wasn't a real goal-kicking day for them either. It was, you know, they had a good spread, and I think Gary Ayres will be pretty happy with that. They were able to spread a lot of their goals throughout their team.
We just saw young Liam McBean kick a goal. He kicked 2 goals in the second quarter. O'Sullivan there with a goal, which caused a little bit of an altercation after the goal had been kicked. A lot to like about McBean. He's a very skinny kid. He's very raw, but he's got that touch of class about him.
Yeah, he certainly has, and he can snap goals. He knows where the goals are. He is a very good player. For a guy who's 202 centimetres, he's mobile, and once he puts a bit of muscle on his arms and shoulders, he's going to be a great player for not for Coburg, for Richmond.
Good kick by Masiti with a little banana kick right on half-time. That gave Port a 24-point lead. It was critical that Coburg got the first goal of the third quarter. They did. There's that finishing skill of McBean again, straight over the goal umpire's hat. But then it seemed, Reece, that Port flicked a switch, and 4 goals in 7 minutes, and it was all over.
Yeah, and look, not a great kick in there to the big fella Bonner, but he was in front, and that's the important place to be, and he was able to slot that one. And as you said, they piled on 4 goals, and the game was effectively finished then.
That was a good contest from Ben Griffiths, who didn't take the mark but crashed the pack. Marrick got the goal, but the task was going to be too big. Even though Tim Clark was imploring his players to play for the win, they were 37 down at three-quarter time. Bonner took the hanger in the last quarter. It was 5 goals to 2. And eventually, I suppose, 55-point margin was probably a reasonable reflection of their dominance.
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, they were the class act on the day. We see Chris Kane there, who picked up his usual 25, 26 possessions and a couple of goals. He's just a class act.
So Port's biggest win of the year previously had been 16. This time it was 55. There are the final numbers. A lot more handballs for Port Melbourne, but in the end, the stat that counted was the one on the new electronic scoreboard at Port Melbourne. The final score, Port 16-16, 112. Coburg 8-9, 57. The Borough registers its 5th win of season 2013.